Hey everybody, Chris here, and I wanted to do this put this video together today to explain ketogenic eating. And we had a class on this a couple weeks ago, and I had a whole bunch of people asking when we're going to do the next one. We will be doing another one here in the future, but as of now, I can put this together so you can watch this now, get it started ASAP. Keto eating is a great way of dropping body fat, still being able to build muscle. It's a great plan. It is one that I recommend, along with a balanced macro plan, which you got to choose one or the other. You can't do both together because they wouldn't work together. But let me kind of get started into the keto plan. My goal here is to kind of give you some knowledge and just give you the understanding of how you properly do it. I have a lot of people coming into the studio when I'm talking to them for the first time, telling me they're following keto eating, and there are strict guidelines to actually be making sure you're following it properly. So I just want to make sure that you understand that so you can do it the proper way. Okay, so first, all right, so what is ketogenic eating? A ketogenic lifestyle consists of high fats, moderate protein, and low carbohydrates. The idea is for you to get more calories from fats and less from carbohydrates. You cut back mostly on the carbs that are easily digested, like sugar, soda, pastries, pastas, and white bread. You do get some carbohydrates with keto eating. So you do got to have some carbs, but you don't want to eat, like if you get it from like the ones listed here, sugar, soda, pastries, and pasta, it's going to knock you out of ketosis. And I'm going to give you a better understanding of that as we move forward here. So, but you got to make sure you're eating the right type of carbs coming from the right vegetable sources. Okay. So your body produces ketones. Ketones, chemicals made in the liver that are produced when glucose is significantly depleted. And this gets a little sciencey here, so I'll explain it so you can understand it. When you eat sugar, our body turns that sugar or carbohydrates into glucose in the body. It's the main source of energy that we use it's the main source of energy that we use for like when we're working out. Our brain runs on glucose, so it's our main source of energy. So what happens when the liver converts fat into fatty acids, and that's ketone bodies. So when you cut back on the carbohydrates, this is what happens. The ketone bodies go into the brain and replace the glucose as the energy source. So think of it as the second energy source, which it is, the second energy source to glucose. So when you reduce to carbs, this is what happens. The elevated level of ketones in the body are known as ketosis. So you get your body into ketosis. This is where your body is going to burn fat as fuel, which that is going to include some of your body fat in this process, which is what you want as far as toning up and dropping body fat. And the good thing is you'll still be able to build muscle doing this as well. So how your body burns fat as fuel. When you eat less than 50 grams of carbs per day, your body eventually runs out of fuel from blood sugar, and then can begin to use the fat as fuel. So the process is different for everybody. So it can be 2 to 4 days, depending on the person. Everybody's different. Your meal should have 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbohydrate. I know that's confusing to a lot of people. The best way to figure this out is using MyFitnessPal. It will calculate it for you. If you need a video explaining how to figure that out and use MyFitnessPal, if you go to Custom Body Bootcamp on YouTube, I have a video explaining how to use MyFitnessPal and how to figure out the macros on there. So, but again, it is high fat, so 75% of the calories are going to be taken in are going to come from fat, 20% protein, and that's just to make sure that you're providing your body the protein you need, because you need that to build muscle. And then the 5% carbs, we do need a little bit of carbs in our eating as well. Okay. So I want to give you pros and cons of keto. It's a great way to burn body fat and lose weight. It's a great way to control blood sugar. I also want you to learn about carbohydrates and processed foods. Like, know what you're putting in your body. The amount of carbs that we consume coming from processed foods and just overconsumption of carbs is what caused us to be overweight. And then adding fat on top of that is even going to add more, get a lot more calories from fat. But the high carbs are what you want to control as far as a lifestyle if you want to lose the weight and keep it off. And knowing what you're putting in your body is super important, because it's what I found over the last 18 years. The majority of people do not understand what they're consuming. And the goal is to figure and understand that so you can have the choice and stay away from it, so you can be able to lose the weight and keep it off. So here's some of the cons of keto eating. You've got to add carbs back in slow, or you will gain the weight back quick. So it's like you got to add it slow, let your body reacclimate to carbohydrates. But you're going to want to take 2-3 months of really adding it back in slow, and the right type of carbs, not processed foods. So good carbs coming from good, healthy vegetables. It can be challenging to follow. There are strict guidelines. I find it a little easier to follow because it's like you can actually eat out a little more on keto eating and still get the results, where it gets a little more difficult on the way that I teach as far as macro eating. But it is a little challenging because it is restrictive because you can't go over in your carbs. Can cause the constipation due to high protein consumption. You're not getting a ton of protein in this because it is moderate protein, 20. I mean, 25 would be okay, but you're right around those ranges. Okay. Whenever you're losing weight, the majority of people will try to cut calories significantly to lose weight, which a lot of times you can lose weight. A lot of times your body will plateau because of that. But the thing is, the most important part when you lose weight is never to lose muscle. And if you've been at the boot camp for a while, you've heard me say that all the time over the years, because it is the most important part. Our bodies need proper nutrients. So you got to make sure that you're getting the proper nutrients you need to be able to build muscle while dropping body fat. Because you are cutting calories. You're not getting what your body actually wants, because you got to cut calories to be able to lose weight. So it's important to make sure you're getting what you need to still get the results that are going to support you in a healthy lifestyle. Macronutrients is protein, fat, and carbs. Those are the big nutrients. Micros are vitamins and minerals. You don't have to really worry about those so much, but macros are important to understand. It'll give you a little more control of your nutrition and understand your dietary needs. And then making sure you're getting enough to build muscle, because muscle is it's the biggest part of the metabolism. So it's what's going to help you keep the weight off. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you feel better, have more energy. There's lots of reasons why. So it's important to make sure you're eating correctly to support that. Okay. What is metabolism? It's converting food into energy. So metabolism is the process by which your body converts what you eat and drink into energy. During this complex biochemical process, calories in food and beverages are combined with oxygen to release the energy your body needs to function. So it's like we do need calories. I mean, this is one of the things of how we live. Muscle requires more calories because it needs calories to stay healthy and strong. Like if you don't feed it enough, you're going to end up losing muscle, which hence you're going to lose metabolism, which is going to, as soon as you start eating more again, like you can gain weight back quicker that way. So that's why it's important to make sure you build muscle, for many other reasons as well. So just really quick to kind of cover, back in 1977, this is when the government, trying to combat cardiovascular disease and diabetes, decided to create low-fat guidelines, because they thought that was what was causing all the problems. And so when they did that, like, the thing is, like, you can't take something out of food without adding something else back to it. So what happens is, when you take something out of food, such as the fat, to make it low-fat, you have to add something back into the food. And guess what that something was? It was sugar. So sugar was added back into food. And this is where things really started to get out of control, and the weight gain in this country started to skyrocket, and obesity really began to rise drastically. So, and it has not really corrected itself since. So, the thing is like, sugar is what's causing all the problems. So I'm going to kind of cover sugar. I'm not going to go too details, because you don't need a lot of sugar in the keto, but I want you to understand this, because I think it's super important to understanding why sugar causes us so many problems, and to be able to control as far as a lifestyle. You got good sugars, and then you got bad sugars. Good sugars are going to come from real food. Real fruit grows out of a tree, or comes out of the ground, fruits and vegetables. Again, when you're on keto, you're still not going to be able to get the fruits and vegetables, but I'm, again, just teaching you this just for knowledge. Bad sugars are going to be added sugars that come in the form of cane sugar, honey, white sugar, flours, and these are added to a lot of processed foods. Almost all processed foods, you're going to get added sugars, and that's one of the reasons sugar is shown to kind of be addicting in a similar way. It lights up the brain just like cocaine, heroin, and the same area. So it's like there is an addicting part of sugar. The struggle's real as you're trying to cut it out. But you don't want the bad sugars. You want to get your sugars coming from the right source. keto, you need to be under 50 grams of carbs per day, which is generally, I mean, you're going to be looking at 2 apples per day. You got to be careful with those because fruits are higher sugar. So it's like you don't want to jump your sugar up too high. But just to give you a little perspective on the sugar you have on a keto plan. Blood sugar levels are affected by the consumption of good and bad carbs, but it's like when you eat a whole bunch of sugar, carby, like even sweets in particular, your sugar levels go way up. What happens, your glucose is going to convert that over to fatty acids and store that as body fat. So that's kind of a general thing that happens. I don't want to get into too much detail for time reasons right now, but when you're eating lots of sugar, you're going to be gaining lots of weight is what you need to know here. So it's like your body releases lots of insulin. Insulin's like a key, goes to the fat cells, and it's going to convert that glucose over. There's a process that happens there, but it's essentially going to end up being stored as fat, which you do not want because you keep doing that. That's how you end up gaining weight. We're trying to change that with eating properly, reducing calories the proper and healthy way. Okay. So high sugar consumption equals lots of weight gain and all the health-related problems that come with it. High blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, joint problems, arthritis, cancers. I mean, and these are things like, I mean, we have people coming in here with these issues all the time in a boot camp. And it's like, when you do things right, you can have control of your health. So it's like, you can get healthier from making healthier choices of being active and eating properly. Okay. You got unhealthy fats versus healthy fats. One of the things like in keto, you can actually eat bad fats and still get yourself in ketosis and lose weight. Don't do that. Do it the healthy way. Put good healthy fats, like eat healthy fats to do it the proper way. Like bad fats are going to be all man-made fats, animal fats that are given hormones, antibiotics. Like stay away from the unhealthy fats. Get good fats, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, grass-fed, naturally fed animals and fish, ghee. They call that pastured too, so you can look at pastured-fed animals. But then you got ghee and grass-fed butter, so it's like those go for the healthy fats. Okay. Now, proteins are the main building blocks of the body. Protein is what is going to repair the muscle tissue, help you build the muscle. So it's like you got to make sure you're getting enough. You get it from animal meat, some plant-based sources. And then just side note, the plant-based sources, such as beans and lentils, like I actually consider those more of a carbohydrate than a protein. They're about 80% of a carb. You can generally, just a rough estimate around there. So as far as sufficiently giving your body the protein it needs, it's going to be challenging. Keto, it's going to be really hard to do a plant-based eating plan. There's plans out there. It's not even something I can teach, but it's like if you can research and find that if you are a vegetarian and you want. I even know there's vegan ways of doing it. Again, I can't teach it, but they're out there. You can research and find that online. Okay. Ketogenic eating is a way that gets your body to burn the fat as fuel. Hence, that's going to be losing the weight rather than the carbohydrates and eating lots of carbs, which can make you gain weight. So we're trying to get your body to go into ketosis to burn body fat as well as the fat you're intaking as your energy. You'll consume, so how it works, you're going to consume no more than 50 grams of carbs per day. Again, using MyFitnessPal to track all this. Women will consume about 120 grams of protein, and men will consume about 180 grams. Fats will come from coconut oil and other natural sources that I went over earlier. No man-made fats. Eat 3 to 6 meals per day. So it's like you can spread those out. You can have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and just do that. Just make sure you're in your calorie ranges. MyFitnessPal will give you those as well. Or you can have 6 meals per day as well. One of the good things about keto eating, you'll crave carbs after a while, but it's like fat is very satiating, meaning you're not going to be as hungry when you're getting higher fat as well, which is kind of cool. A lot of people also report with the keto eating is like these high levels of energy and clarity, and their mind gets a lot clearer. A lot of people actually claim that as they do the keto eating plan. Okay, carb control is essential to being successful. And this is like, as I'm talking to people in my studio that claim to be doing keto, and they're telling me carbs that they're taking when I'm asking them like what they're eating. It's like, you're not in ketosis if you're over consuming carbs. It's impossible. So it's like, I'll tell you some sticks and things you can get on Amazon that can test it to let you know if you're in ketosis, but it's like, you got to keep yourself under. You probably should be more around the 20 to 30 grams per day, which is not much of carbs. You want that coming more from vegetables, but no more than 50 grams per day. Use MyFitnessPal to calculate your calories. Any of the apps that track your caloric intake can work as long as they do your macros. MyFitnessPal works great. avoid added sugars and processed foods, and then get your carbs from the vegetables, preferably. Okay. Protein intake, women are going to be 120 grams per day, men 180 grams. And these are just rough estimates. Again, like you got to make sure you're getting your protein to be able to build the muscle. Then you're going to make up the other calories that the MyFitnessPal recommend. To make sure you're getting sufficient calories for what you need throughout the day to get your energy. Okay. And this, for example, a 6-ounce piece of chicken is about 45 grams of protein. Preferably grass-fed, naturally fed animals. Example proteins: organic chicken, wild-caught fish, grass-fed beef, organic eggs, protein powder, as long as it's low carb. So there can be added sugars into those as well, so be careful. Leafy green vegetables, all leafy green vegetables are okay. Calculate them in your MyFitnessPal. Some green vegetables do have carbs, and you do get your carbs preferably, like you do get some carbohydrates in broccoli. So just learn the green vegetables and the vegetables that you're eating that do have some carbs in them. They're going to be low, but you are going to get some carbs. And again, like you want to stay under that 50 grams per day. Again, preferably 20 to 30 grams. Okay. Vegetables to avoid: peas, carrots, corn, squash, eggplant, pumpkin, beets. One of the ones that I recommend for people to get away from corn products. Corn's in almost everything. Staying away from corn. It's not a great source of food to be getting nutrients from, in my opinion. But you do get a lot more sugar. And the reason these aren't necessarily unhealthy vegetables. I could argue corn in many ways, but the other ones are healthy ones. But when you're following keto, it's like they do have a higher glycemic index, so it's like you want to stay away from those for that reason. Okay. Meal prep and grocery: being successful on any plan, it's preparing and being prepared is always key. Pick 3 recipes. I recommend finding 3 keto recipes that'll support. You can find them all over online. Cook at least 2 to 3 days at a time. You can cook for the whole meal. You can freeze your meals just for a few days. It's not going to hurt it. From your 3 recipes, make a list of all the ingredients. That'll give you your grocery list. Portion out and pack your meals up so they're ready for the next 3 days. So an example here is going to be like you see the keto meal plan, like packing your meals. I love the little containers. I've got mine that I have at home. Good, healthy, good vegetables that you're going to eat. Of course, eggplant you can't have, which is one of the ones that I just said before. Okay. Again, MyFitnessPal, I have a video on YouTube. You can find that. I explain how to use MyFitnessPal. I got in there where it explains to, on the Custom Body Bootcamp, where it explains to you how to use MyFitnessPal, but it'll show you how to use the macros in there as well. Okay. Now, as far as this, these are strips you can buy. You can find a bunch of them on Amazon. These are on Amazon. I think it's been a while since I've looked, but they're around $10 or so. You actually pee on these strips, and you want your ranges to be to where you're in ketosis. You don't want it to be too dark. The instruction should talk about that. If it's too dark, you're probably dehydrated. But you want to be drinking lots of water on keto too, tons of water, lots and lots of water. But these are strips just to make sure you're in ketosis. And then you can learn too, like when you've got these, like, oh, hey, I had something a little like that I didn't realize had, and this is how you learn about carbs, but I had something that was a little too carby, sugary, and knocked me out of ketosis. And you can use these strips to see how long it takes to get you back into ketosis. This part's kind of the fun part, I think, because it kind of helps you figure out more of your body and following it and the science for yourself of understanding that. Okay, so I just wanted to add this on. This is the last part, is intermittent fasting. This is not keto eating. This is a strategy of fasting throughout the day. You can use this on keto. You can do this the whole time as you're on keto. I generally like to do it for 3 to 4 days at a time. This is where you pick 8 hours of the day. You eat for 8 hours, and then you will fast for 16 hours. So what that means, like when I generally do it, I will eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then I will fast from 8 p.m. all the way till 12 p.m. the next day. I will generally do that from 2 to 4 days, especially if I have a bad weekend. This is a great tool that I use, like to undo my bad weekend, just eating healthy and do my fasting. Macro eating, not necessarily keto. It can be any eating plan. During your fasted state, coffee and water are okay. But this is something you can use with keto eating. It is super, you hear about it all the time with keto eating. It's super popular. Plain coffee, no dairy, no sugar, no creamer, nothing. Okay. Timing your fasting. The recommended times is 12 to 8. Again, you can set that. If you get up really early, you can, like if you get up at 4 a.m., you could set it from 10 to 6 p.m. So just set it up according to your schedule. If you're working overnight, you can set it up based on your schedule at night. You can, any 8 hours, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I hope you guys find this helpful. If you have any questions, ask, let me know. We got our team at the studio will be able to help you as well. If you want a keto plan, send us a text. If you're one of the members here at Custom Body Bootcamp, we'll send you over our keto plan, or keto guide, I should say. And it's got recipes and everything in it. Just text us 424-393-4055 and we can get that over to you. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hope you found this helpful. And then, yeah, stay committed. Show up to your workouts. Let's do this. Get healthy, get fit, and keep being awesome. So have a great day. Talk to you soon.